havoc again in parts of Accra as experts call for more resources into flood mitigation measures. Also coming up, Interior Minister inspects damage caused by Wednesday night's fire at the Accra Central Barracks Annex. Also in this hour, Lankwantanan Medina Municipal Assembly pushes for the arrest and prosecution of landlord of a building that collapsed at Adenta new site, killing one person. It's News Central, live on TV3. I'm Kemini Amano. News Central starts now. Now, Wednesday's downpour wreaked havoc in many parts of the Greater Accra region. Roads and bridges were flooded, causing a gridlock for hours and cutting off communities. Old Ashoma, Agbogba, Hacho, Domipila 2, Kaneshi, Lakeside Estates are some of the areas that were heavily affected. At the Kaneshi Market and parts of Ashoma, people were seen trying to retrieve goods and items washed away by the floods. Now, the impact of the rains are still being felt today, as many had to endure longer rides than usual to work. Others are without power, while some are beginning to see the full extent of damage to their shops and homes. Now, coincidentally, the massive floods were recorded exactly 11 years after the June 3 flood and fire disasters, igniting conversations on whether or not the country has put in the right measures over the years to avert a similar disaster, now, especially when there are reports of some areas being flooded for the first time. Now, this afternoon, we can also report that the Minister for the Interior has inspected sections of the Accra Central Police Barracks Annex that were gutted by fire on Wednesday evening. He was joined by the Inspector General of Police, the Chief Fire Officer, and other senior officials to assess the extent of damage caused by the blaze and interact with affected residents. Now, the fire destroyed parts of the residential facility, injuring one person and leaving several families displaced. It's also prompted concerns over safety and accommodation for affected officers and their families. We'll connect with man Joseph Armstrong, who was there in the area and spoke with the Greater Accra Regional Fire Commander and the Mayor of Accra. We'll hear in a tad from these, but as you very well know, in late last night, the police barracks annex at Accra Central caught fire. And we understand that one person has been injured in the process. Today, the Interior Minister, who obviously is in charge of the police by extension of his office, is inspecting the site of the fire or the scene of the fire to understand how this occurred, what could be done for victims of the fire. We understanding that, the residents who are affected by the fire are beginning to salvage what they can. As far as, the remains are concerned, it was a really large fire last night. It took a lot of work from the Ghana National Fire Service to bring the inferno under control. Thankfully, no casualties were recorded. However, one person is injured in the process, and it's a vast destruction. We'll connect shortly with Joseph Armstrong, who is our correspondent on this beat, to tell us exactly what the minister has seen since visiting the scene of the fire from last night. Now, the minister visited the scene. The fire occurred last night, but the minister visited today. We'll find out what exactly his interaction has been. He was accompanied by the IGP, Christian Teteyohuno, and Chief of Fire as well, and to assess the situation and the extent of damage and what could be done to ensure that officers are properly housed after the fire that took place at the barracks. Now, we'll connect shortly, perhaps a little later, with Armstrong for the latest on this. Right now, however, let's head to Lankwantana Medina Municipal Assembly, because the Assembly says it will push for the arrest and prosecution of the landlord of the collapsed building for defying regulations by the Assembly. Now, the building, which comprised ground and first floor apartments, caved in and trapped 5 people beneath the debris. The 5 occupants, comprising 3 adults and 2 children, were trapped beneath the rubble when the building collapsed. Following intensive efforts, the remaining victim, Margaret Bailey, was retrieved from beneath the rubble in an unconscious state. She was later handed over to the Adenta Police Command for preservation and further investigation. Authorities are yet to determine the cause of the collapse, while investigations are expected to begin after rescue efforts were concluded early this morning.
So they stopped him and he refused to listen to that. So some way, somehow, he found his own means to move to the 2-story. So that is what we are in now. And we are going to arrest him. We will not spare that. The law must bite. And therefore, we will take him out. So we are now looking for him.
Moving forward, are you going to demolish buildings of this sort?
Oh, yes. There are plenty of this that we've already started. In fact, as of last 2 weeks, Mr. P, I think we demolished about 4. Last 2 weeks, we demolished about 4. Little did we know that something like this is going to happen. But you see, like people say, sometimes when you are planning, you should remember that the bigger planner is Almighty. So he is giving us this as a test case to see that there are more of this nature, not only in Medina or Lankwantana Medina Municipal Assembly, but across the nation. We should ensure that the right thing is being adhered to, and that is what we are going to champion for henceforth.
So this very incident would have been avoidable.
Certainly, my brother, this situation could have been avoidable if the building owner or the owner of the building would have listened to the former engineer. He would have stopped this construction. By refusing to understand, thinking that it is my property, I have the right to build, although, and I'm sending this caution to all developers, although it is your property, it is your land, it is your money, but remember, when such calamities happen, it is not you, it is the Abai or the government that will be pulled upon, just like what is happening today. The regional minister, the sector minister himself, was outside, but he moved because of this particular issue. So why should we wait for such things to happen? So automatically we are going to embark on such projects and make sure that we bring all to its finality.
Now, let's go back to that fire at the Accra Central Police Barracks Annex from last night. Remember, I've been telling you that the Interior Minister has gone to inspect the scene of the fire, accompanied by the IGP and the Chief Fire Officer. Joseph Armstrong is on this beat with the very latest. Joseph, what can you report?
So this is the Accra Central Police Barracks Annex here in Accra, very close to the Central Business District. And as it stands right now, yesterday's fire outbreak, we are told about 32 rooms have been completely burnt. And we've seen so many items here leading to the spark of the fire. You see the occupants here used for their daily business. They've also turned the place into a warehouse where people come to take their water and sell. It's not less than 50 deep freezers here they use for their businesses. And looking at the size of the building freezers we have here, obviously there's something wrong with this place where we have security personnel, both police personnel and their spouses occupying. Let's speak to the regional fire commander for him to give us some explanation how we can have such an environment here, considering the fact that it's a security environment. Regional Commander, good afternoon to you.
Good morning, my brother.
Okay. So, explain to us. Look at the number of phrases we have here. Technically, what's your first impression?
Okay, so we term it as poor housekeeping in fire engineering science. What you see, the one word that I can use is what we call poor housekeeping. This can lead to overloading and can lead to fire outbreaks.
Okay.
Yes.
It can lead to overloading and fire outbreak.
Yes.
But I thought your original fire office have a way of going around such places to check the environment so they can advise. When was the last time you did such routine checks?
Armstrong, I know it's because you are a journalist, you have to ask me questions. If you were asked to explain, even if fire service is not there, you will bear with me that fire service, we've played our role, going around educating the people as to whether the people who work with the information that we are giving them is also another matter. Because talking about overloading, short-circuiting, poor housekeeping, congestion, creation of hydrants, a whole lot. We've spoken about this on so many media platforms. And now, what we are doing, we go from market to market. You are aware, we've gone to Agbogloshi, we've gone to Kantamanto, we've gone to Domi, we've gone to Madina, to Way, everywhere, all in the attempt to educate the people so that these disasters will be a thing of the past.
So, Commander, we know but from the layman's perspective, what do you think may be the immediate cause of this, per what you are seeing?
The fire last night, from the investigations that we did, started from the back there. Some said it started from the Ghana Water Company warehouse. Others said it started from an officer's room. Whatever the situation is, if indeed it started from an officer's room, it means something might have been left unattended to. And the information I'm getting from our men is that the fire was almost extinguished, and they had an explosion of a cylinder, and that aggravated the situation. So then we are discouraging the usage of these small cylinders, so that we can have a bulk gas sitting somewhere and lay pipes and connect it to various kitchens, and that will solve the problem.
Yesterday, your men got here, you are told they got here, and the usual rhetorics, no water in the fire tender. Is there any explanation why the public always think you bring about 3 fire tenders and they claim there's no water in the tender?
You see, every job has its standard operating procedure. Every job has its standard operating procedure. The media, you have the way you do your job. Fire service, we also have the way we do our job. Let me put it on record. There is no fire engine that can carry unlimited water. It is not possible. Because there is no fire engine that can come and mount here around 7 p.m. yesterday and fight fire to this morning 3 a.m. without the water exhausting. So the white man had advised that through literature, you get a fire hydrant so that as soon as you come, as you are discharging the water to the fire ground, you are replenishing from the hydrant into the tank. Here is a situation, there is no any workable hydrant here. So the water that you brought, if it's exhausted, certainly you have to go and replenish before coming back. But people will not understand why you have moved the fire engine to go and replenish. The why is because there is no workable hydrant for replenishing directly as firefighting is going on. And these are the things that hinders the smooth firefighting processes that we are talking about.
Thank you so much, Greater Accra Regional Fire Commander.
Armstrong there with that live report. Earlier, he also spoke with the Interior Minister.
Issues on board right now is about the state of the police personnel, where they stay. We've seen the accommodation. Many have said that it's not good enough. And then secondly, it's about how fire personnel are attacked anytime they get to a fire scene. Let's talk first about accommodation. Any plans?
Well, interestingly, yesterday in the evening around 5, we were talking to a private person that POMAG have recommended to us, and we're looking at how we can partner them together. And they were talking about even 10,000 housing units for the police. So, yes, we looked at the memorandum of understanding and we signed it only yesterday. It is our hope that if that comes into play, then I want to believe, yes, our men are over 50,000, but if we are able to get 10,000 housing units within maybe a period of 3, 4, 5 years, that will reduce the burden drastically. So a number of things are happening together with the accommodation. But with regards to the what has gotten bent, I mean, His Excellency is out of town. When he comes, we are immediately going to look at what we can immediately do to replace that, because already the deficit is very high, and we need to be able to close the gap. So that's what we'll be doing.
So before you talk about the attack on the fire personnel, people have also raised concern about the businesses back home, about some of these spouses of the police personnel, the number of freezers we saw at the place that got burnt. Isn't it worrying?
Well, it is. That's why we are working with fire service, even the National Fire Service, even those that structures that have not been burnt. They will go and do the assessment, and let's see the fire safety measures that can be put to enhance and prevent further, some of these things from happening. Just the investigation is on. We don't want to preempt what the investigation will show, but obviously I want to believe that the police, the Ghana National Fire Service, and the security agencies are putting their heads together to make sure that this thing do not repeat itself, and anything that we need to do to support that we'll do. With regards to the Ghana National Fire Service and personnel going out and being attacked, you know, they've been working with police, but what we realized was that when they go to the scene, they have this breathing apparatus. The police don't have. So after the police stand there for some time, obviously the smoke and the inhalation, they have to step back. So on our own, with the Ghana National Fire Service, we started training what we call the fire police. So they've just graduated the first, I think, 50. It is to help them. So when they are going to the fire scene, they will go with these fire police who are well trained to be able to protect the officers on the ground, whilst the police back them up when it becomes necessary.
You want to caution the general public for daring?
Yeah, obviously, because sometimes, you see, when you do that, you are being unfair to them. Whether the police, the fire service, the prison, all of them, we are supposed to provide them the apparatus to be able to work, the accoutrement. And then the fire service, as I always say, the newest fire tender we have is 14 years old. So when they are coming in big and they get there and you're attacking them, how fair are you to them? It's we, the state, who must provide them with those equipment. And now
you are not arresting. You are not arresting.
No, we are. But currently, I can tell you, those who did the attack in Kaswa and Adenta are before the court, and we are prosecuting them. And that will continue. So, but the president is on the mood for us to be able to buy new fire tender. We started the process. We've gotten the commencement. The process is on. I'm sure by the end of the year, some new fire tenders will come. That may help speed up some of the, and then prevent this unnecessary attack because they have delayed. I mean, if you are using a very rickety vehicle, obviously it cannot get to the place in good time. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Armstrong there with that conversation with the Interior Minister. Let's get on the phone lines now and speak to Development Planner Alfred Opoku, who is also a policy advisor at the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry. Now, Alfred is at Koforidia. He's in Koforidia now as part of a team which is developing a 10-year flood mitigation and management plan for the Greater Accra region under the GARID project, which makes this conversation very timely. Alfred, good afternoon to you.
Madam.
Why does it appear that as a nation we have failed to tackle the perennial problem of floods, and even now we understand that new places that hitherto didn't flood are flooding badly?
That's an unfortunate situation. Unfortunately, yesterday was about 11 years ago that Accra experienced the worst flooding in terms of impact, where June said that time about 53,000 lives were affected at a cost of about, $105 billion and so on and so forth. What we found out from that time was that all the assemblies in Accra were not having a joint plan from which they were working. And so everyone was doing his own thing according to his timetable and their priorities. This GARID thing that we're talking about came in as a starting point to give every assembly about 420,000 cedis a year to do what they have to do to ensure that at least they are solving their problem from their own angle. But GARID had realized that doesn't solve the problem because it's just in the same whole thing with just more money. So what we are doing now is that we are preparing a 10-year, we have already, today I'm incorporating speaking with you, we are doing a 10-year joint plan where the 17 assemblies in the GARID have come together to prepare a joint plan where everybody would adhere to it so that one program will be made for all of them They are going to contribute percentages of their income, common fund and BIF, to put it together at a common pool, a pool fund, from which all these are going to be done. Until such a joint plan is implemented, we are going to address the problem we are having. We also have the challenge of the community, the people in Accra, where the government will spend all the money and the effort to prepare whatever the drains or no. But every night, every morning, they get up and throw their domestic waste into it. So the biggest challenge is the handling, the management of the drains that the government prepares. Other than that, technically, the government has been doing a lot with all the technical staff, the engineers and planners and everything that is in Accra.
I see.
But the community people are giving us the problem.
I see. So Alfred, whose failure is this? Who does the buck stop with in terms of what we are seeing in the capital city and beyond?
The federal, from all angles, the government and even from donor communities, every money that is needed is pumped into it. We educate communities about how not to manage the drains. The biggest challenge is the community are not supporting what they have to do. They are not doing. They're throwing all the silt that gets into the drains. About 90% of them are homemade and human-made. So it's a self-inflicted challenge, problem that we are facing.
I see. How different is this 10-year flood mitigation plan? How confident are we that it will be applied, unlike the previous steps that we have taken that end up stalling along the way?
The 10-year plan is that all the assemblies have identified that we have one common problem. And the 10-year plan just features on flooding alone. Number two, all the hotspots, we have identified 211 hotspots, meaning the dangerous areas where flooding usually occurs, from these 17 assemblies. And we have designed solutions to each of them, assembly by assembly and hotspot by hotspot. Financing, all the assemblies have agreed that they will contribute a percentage of their IGF and a percentage of their DHCF, but the support of the government will also give them, so there will be funding for that. And then we have agreed that every year we prepare an action plan from which, if all of us agree that we are desilting 1 kilometer of drain, all of us are going to do the same time. And the contract will begin at the same time. It's not going to be one assembly doing and waiting for another one to continue. The priority is one, the inserting time is one. The contract is at the same time. So that this thing of, I have done mine, I'm waiting for it to finish yours and come, will be the thing of the past. So now it's a joint plan and joint implementation with joint funding. That is the hope that this one will do a better thing than all of them.
Alfred, what explanation do you have for why we are seeing new places flood, especially when different assemblies at different point in time have embarked on one demolition exercise or the other in attempts to free waterways?
The demolition technically do not carry a solution to flooding. If you're demolishing, you must know that this particular building is standing in the runway. There are some places the building does not stand in the runway, but we demolish it because it's a public space. If we want to stop flooding and demolishing, the structure you are demolishing, is it standing in the runway? If not, then it has nothing to do with the flooding at all. So it must be selective and it must be direct to what will make the water flow. In the Raptor side areas, fine, we may talk about that, but the buildings that standing in the places where the flooding is flowing, the water is flowing, is that the place we are clearing? If not, then we have done nothing to the flooding. And again, also the drain. Is the size wide enough? Has it been choked? We are holding a meeting here. Somebody gave an example that at the Bosokan area, when they remove all the debris within a particular drain, they saw lorry tires and car engines dumped into the drain. If these things are not removed and we demolish a building along the way, the flow will not be there. So the demolition must be selective, and we must be careful where and which one we take away. Other than that, the demolition does not solve the flooding at all. If it were, we wouldn't be seeing flooding anymore in Accra, because the demolition is going on every year. That's it.
Very well, Alfred. We'll leave you to it this afternoon. Thank you so much. Alfred Opoku is a development planner. He's also policy advisor for the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry. We'll stay on floods outside the Greater Accra region because the National Disaster Management Authority is threatening to demolish all structures developed on water retention areas in Sekondi-Takoradi. The threat comes on the heat of recorded flood cases across the Western region's capital following Thursday's downpour. Irama Smith has more.
The Sekondi-Takoradi Metro Directorate of NADMO has been inundated with emergency calls from flood-affected residents in the Saman, Ijamwabakum, Airport Ridge, Kansarado and Bakado communities following a downpour which started in the early hours of Thursday. At Ijamwabakum, residents have identified structural development as a major water receptacle by some private individuals as the cause of the flood.
New buildings now we see what does see waterlog area no e bit na me hunu ahari ya first no nsu oyensu kwan bridge na adi nya da ba sisi ano atwa na asase ni nya ama nkofo and we sisi na ade sisi wa fele gates no ni si anu nsu twa entum nsu no mponya kwan mba bebi mo do siti ni nya no so isi a chapu da no se echi wona ye hunu ebi ni woni fe no sisi ni ma ebi mpo na ye hu a sisi a tinya kan.
Every blessed year, it's no union. The biggest problem, pani na here, regional, bridge casino, we see, and bridge no way no watch out. No bridge no way I sit there so but I see no we see cry as soon as we see.
But for a recent dredging exercise in the community, the flood could have been worse. All air drains had overflown their banks, cutting off a number of households. Responding to the emergency, Metro Director for NADMO, Alhaji Abubakar Kamal, says the Assembly will commence an operation to demolish all structures sitting on waterways.
If it's about the dredging, we have dredged well over 800 meters just last week from this community just to prevent flooding. But the area has flooded again. So that should tell you that the dredging alone may not be the solution. So we now have to take a look at the unauthorized structures that were built around the retention area in this place. And that is what we intend to do now moving forward. So we would entreat the general public, those building on areas that ought not to be developed, retention areas, Ramsar sites, and so on and so forth, they should be mindful that NADMO in STMA, we are coming after them because we cannot continue doing things the way it is now.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Sekondi-Takoradi.
News Central returns with more stories. Don't go away.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Ghana's Most Beautiful is 20 years, and to kickstart the special anniversary season, you are warmly invited to an exclusive royal ball and fundraiser for a legacy project. An evening shared with our cherished partners, distinguished past queens, and the remarkable individuals who who have shaped this journey over the years. Join us at 8 p.m. sharp on the 6th of June at the Adenta Pavilion within the prestigious Labadi Beach Hotel. Red carpet is live at 6 p.m. Come for the elegance, stay for the purpose, be part of the legacy. Ghana's most beautiful 20 years of culture, grace and legacy. This event is strictly by invitation.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Ghana's most beautiful is 20 years, and to kickstart the special anniversary season, you are warmly invited to an exclusive royal ball and fundraiser for a legacy project. An evening shared with our cherished partners, distinguished past queens, and the remarkable individuals who have shaped this journey over the years. Join us at 8 p.m. sharp on the 6th of June at the Adenta Pavilion within the prestigious Labadi Beach Hotel. Red carpet is live at 6 p.m. Come for the elegance, stay for the purpose, be part of the legacy. Ghana's most beautiful 20 years of culture, grace and legacy. This event is strictly by invitation.
Welcome back to News Central here on TV3. I'm Kamini Amano. In other news this afternoon, the CEO of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital is expected to appear before the Minister of Health today to answer questions regarding the decision to shut down the facility's Accident and Emergency Unit. According to the CEO, the decision was stemmed from the unit's inability to admit more cases. The development has sparked a lot of discourse amongst the general public, but the Ghana Medical Association has some concerns. We'll speak now to General Secretary of the Association, Dr. Richard Salome. Doc, good afternoon to you. Now, talk to us about what your concerns are. Well, Dr. Salome, can you hear us? It would appear that Richard Salome cannot hear us at the moment, but we're following up on that story about the health minister summoning the CEO of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital over the closure of the accident and emergency unit of that hospital. Remember, it was closed for about a day or maybe a few hours. Subsequently, it was opened. We understand that as of yesterday, some patients were seen at the accident unit. We know that later in the evening of Wednesday, news broke that the health minister had summoned the CEO of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital over that incident, the closure by that. The Ghana Medical Association is raising concerns, and this afternoon, the General Secretary of the Association will share with us exactly what their concerns are. Richard, I'll try you again. Perhaps you can hear me now. Dr. Salome, If you can hear me, what are those concerns that the GMA has with the summoning of the CEO of the Confanoche Teaching Hospital? It would appear Dr. Salome cannot hear me at the moment. Perhaps we'll move on to some other stories. When we fix that connection with the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, we will come back to this story. In the meantime, now residents of Kumasi have been reacting to a recent decision by officials of the Confanoche Teaching Hospital to temporarily halt admissions to the emergency center due to congestion. The decision has also sparked conversation on government's commitment to completing some major hospital projects in the Ashanti region to ease pressure on CATH. The Sewa Regional Hospital and the Afari Military Hospital projects remain stalled. Let's listen to some residents sharing their concerns before we engage our correspondent on this matter.
Emergency was 37 and 40. That's I am ma on for the Panaka to him. We be because if you are Yaman, no more, no crown, no more can. The car back, a young man, I say, Fabi Manabos, they bet you, and the horse and Mansua, the woman say Nipan Quandi, but one more warm, you also, young one more so break. Into some case and form for baby for Fra, maybe who's so wonderful. A body head in a cabin, baby are walking, almost here we are, and commit to me again, be a go. If you say, woman, we are in Nipan baby bit me alcohol. While Brian can say, I'm for being hospital for 4. Said a car ma, near for balloon, the action. Sana horse and mount me for balloon. It's a banning fan woman you in. Woman has only a comedy as under you be about what the air got up.
Yes, then, what be I was say, what the bois a Santa Mana. A higher Cassium. Bibichi and any baby, a dear mamma, no near more continuous than a daruma. And the money on why not so, but to me, I bet why I'm a Dumana or bet was so. I may a fan who do. Into your slab, Banny and Sadie and Sayam, and the money we open near fan who do. So do Nipa Abba Hospital, no win your baby, and fan so. A big rat snake, Kunyaso, a Vienna ya bono, much and we are what I could see.
Well, those are some residents and users of the Confanoche Teaching Hospital. Let's speak now to Dr. Richard Salome, who's General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. Remember, I told you that the association has raised concerns about the invitation extended to the CEO of the Confanoche Teaching Hospital following the temporary closure. And also keep in mind that since the closure, we have been told that the hospital was open, the unit was open. Some 2 patients were seen yesterday, right? Let's speak to Dr. Salome now. Doc, what really are the concerns if the health minister has invited or summoned the CEO of the hospital over a matter that is of concern to you doctors?
Well, good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your listeners. At first, let's correct the impression. It's not an invitation. The letter that was issued, I'm sure you can read from it, is a query. And in there you read that he should come and explain why he should not be sanctioned for flouting a directive. And so let's not create an impression that it is just an invitation to come and explain, which we think should have been the thing that should have been done in the first place. Now, Confanoche is unique in its position in the sense that unlike Kolebu, which has Rich Hospital, UGMC, 37 military hospitals, various other large facilities, including private facilities, Confanoche is alone in terms of tertiary level referral center when it comes to the middle belt of the country. And Confanoche does not only serve Kumasi, which has a population of over 4 million, but it serves almost 10 regions, 10 to 12 other regions which sends referral. There are even referrals that come sometimes from Tamale Teaching Hospital to Confanoche Teaching Hospital. For that population that we are talking about, Confanoche was built with 37-bed capacity. Of course, the surge capacity is increased to accommodate a lot more patients. But at the time of the release of the statement by Confanoche, there were over 60 patients in Confanoche emergency, which was built for 37, remember. Then, per the statement, there were also about 34, 35 patients waiting on trolleys, some on mattresses on the floor, and some in chairs whereas you still had people being brought in taxis either directly from home and other ambulances on the way. When emergencies are congested, it poses very serious risks to patient care in the sense that there are delays to render care. You have very few staff dealing with these larger numbers. There are also issues about patient safety. You have patients lying on the floor, patients being clumped together in a space that is smaller for it than normal. And so you would have infection prevention issues. You also have quality of care issues. So it's not a mere fact that once patients come, don't turn them away. And so Komfanochi took the rightful decision by putting out a statement, which I feel was very important because people did not have to now travel all the way to Komfanochi to be told that they can't go there and then they waste time. Remember, every minute in an emergency situation wasted roaming around would lead to serious effects. And so it's important to acknowledge that Komfanochi did the right thing by not just putting out a statement, they also liaised with facilities around, providing emergency support and triage in those facilities that will offtake these patients. And it was only for a temporary period.
I see.
So we see nothing wrong with that. Facilities, Konlebu, many 37, Ridge, and others have in the past years issued statements to the public when even they just did fumigation at the emergency centers.
So Dr. Salome, I see what you mean, that this query is uncalled for. But when you tell us that he liaised with facility managers, did that communication also reach the ministry, that this is what we plan to do?
Well, as to whether it reached the ministry or not, I believe the ministry will be best to answer. But you saw subsequent, because they cited interviews by the CEO and the medical director and others. And in many of these interviews that we have watched fully on CTFM, for example, and others, the medical director talked about the fact that there were meetings with the other facilities around. They were also engaging the regional minister, Ashanti regional minister, to look at how to support the other satellite facilities to offtake the spillovers from Komfanochi. Specialists, emergency physicians, and others were liaising, speaking to colleagues in these other receiving facilities to guide them as to how to stabilize some of these patients. That is actually what we want to be doing in preventing no-bed syndrome. We must boost the capacity of peripheral facilities to be able to offtake, rather than flooding the big referral centers.
Very well. Dr. Salome, much more than this, raising concerns about the situation, do we see the GMA take steps in support of the CEO?
Well, we are waiting to hear the outcome of that meeting, and that will advise the next course of action we take. But what's important is that we don't think that it should even get to any particular disciplinary action. If you watch,
but we don't know yet if the outcome of the meeting will end up in a disciplinary action, and so you may be placing the cart before the horse.
We haven't said anything like that. I have not placed any cart before any horse. All I said was that we will watch, we will monitor. If you read our statement, we said we will be monitoring, and to know the outcome to inform our next steps. And so we have not said anything that is untoward.
I guess the point of my question is that the statement by itself is coming a little too soon, don't you think?
We don't think so at all.
Very well.
We need to reiterate the right things that have been done by the hospital. If you remember, when Kolebu issued, following the unfortunate incident of Charles Emisa, when Kolebu issued that directive that no patients should be turned away, in 2 days, you and other stations were reporting from the emergency with patients lying on the floor, sitting in chairs, and other uncompromising positions. And the minister had to go there and see what was happening.
Very well.
It is important we place issues in proper perspective. And so that is why we needed to speak to the issues and bring the facts to bear to show that they were actually doing the right thing, which should be a model that other facilities should learn, and to help us minimize these congestions at these referral centers.
Dr. Salome, thank you very much for your time with us. We'll stay on the subject and head to the Ashanti region now, where Evans Inkum is on the beat. Remember, Evans, you were there yesterday. You reported that some 2 patients had been attended to at the emergency unit. Is the situation still the same? Is it still open? Are they seeing patients? Are the doctors responding to the summoning of the CEO? What can you report?
Well, much more improved than what we saw Tuesday night and, of course, Wednesday morning. Of course, I mean, the communication from Kopanoche was very clear that within 24 hours, they were going to discharge patients that they've been able to stabilize so that others who were on a waiting list could also join. And remember, the woman I spoke to you about yesterday was one of the patients on waiting list who received a call from the Kopanoche Teaching Hospital to come because there was a bed for her to go through or continue her medical process. So I can tell you that, yes, there has been an improved situation since Tuesday night, this morning when I visited Kevin.
I see. How about the doctors themselves? How are they responding to the health minister's summoning of the CEO?
Well, they are not happy at all because in fact, some of them that I engaged, I mean, we had a very private conversation. They said that it's like deviating from the real matter because Kopanoche has been going through this kind of situation as far as the accident emergency telephone is concerned, has been going through this kind of situation for a while. It is only, I mean, this time that they were able to come out boldly to let the public understand that, well, it has gotten to that level that you will not be able to accommodate more emergency cases, or for that matter, those cases should be referred to other private or other, I mean, public or private facilities. Now, the conversation in the Ashanti region begin to focus on the stalled major health facility projects. So here I'm talking about the $180 million Afari Military Hospital, and then the Sevilla Regional Hospital. Now, people are asking questions. Why are these projects not completed since 2008 when they were initiated? So, Camille, that particular question, I think it is only the government that can answer.
I appreciate your time with us, Evans. Evans Inkum is Ashanti region correspondent who's been reporting on the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital situation. Remember, he's telling us that the doctors are unhappy with the summoning of the CEO of the hospital, but he's also said that work is ongoing, really, at the emergency and accident unit of the hospital. Away from that, we'll head to the courts in the capital city because the High Court has ordered that NPP's Bono Region Chairman Kwame Bafo, also known as Abronye, be remanded into police custody after he failed to meet his bail condition of depositing his travel documents. Lawyers of Abronye on Thursday prayed for his bail conditions that required him to deposit his passport to be varied, citing the need for their clients to travel to the UK for educational purposes. Abronye is facing charges of offensive conduct conducive to the breach of peace and publication of false news over alleged derogatory remarks against a circuit court judge. Now, the NPP Bono Region Chairman did not show up in court when the case was called. But our Lord Edwasari was in court. We'll connect with him now on this matter. Lord, tell us, what else happened?
Basically, the of today's case was for lawyers of Abronye to move the application for his bail conditions to be varied, aspects of it which require that he deposits his passport into to the court registrar. Now, after he moved the application, the prosecution, led by Principal State Attorney Joshua Saki, indicated that Abronye had not even deposited his passport to begin with. And so they cited the fact that, apart from the fact that they opposed the application for bail variation, he had a flagrant disregard or disrespect of the court orders. Now, Abronye's lawyer, however, indicated that Abronye is due for admission in a UK school and is supposed to be in the UK on 14th of June, for which reason they were praying the court that that aspect of his bail should be varied. They indicated that they did not essentially deposit a registrar Currently, the passport is with the UK High Commission, and so he actually produced documents with the UK Commission